Today we are going to Cerakote a part on the Cayenne Turbo S. I'm Justin and this is cousin Grayson and this is Husman Bros. Before we go too much further, please subscribe and stay tuned to see how it all turns out. And if you've not formally met Grayson, Grayson's been on the channel before, but Grayson's generally behind the camera. He has his own channel.
Gray Built Garage.
Gray Built Garage, but we'll link to that down below so you can find it. And so Grayson, you have suggested a lot of times that we do something about that armor, and I agree, because it has surface rusted since we put it on.
Yeah, it came uncoated, and I've really gotten into Cerakote recently, which is, if you don't know what Cerakote is, basically it's a super thin ceramic coating. It's similar to powder coat, but a lot thinner, and it'll hold up a lot better than something like paint. So it's chemical resistant, heat resistant. I figured it'd be something that's pretty easy to do and should hold up pretty well on your skid plate.
So you say it's like powder coat. Do you have to bake it?
So there are different types of Cerakote. There are some air cure Cerakotes and there's some oven cure Cerakotes. For a piece this big, the skid plate is pretty big. We're gonna do an air cure. It should hold up just fine, but this is kind of a test, so we'll see.
So we'll find out. So I've already taken off the skid plate from the truck and I'm gonna pass it off to you, Grayson, and show me what you can do. We'll hook back up here in what, a week or so?
Yep, sounds like it. First step to Cerakoting this skid plate is actually removing all of the rust off of it. As you can see, this thing was pretty rusty when Justin gave it to me. Normally I'd use a sandblaster to do this, but this piece is so big, I can't use a sandblaster. So instead, I'm gonna use this Milwaukee orbital sander and hand sand this entire plate. I took the plate outside and got to work sanding this. This took way longer than it should have. This probably took me 30, 45, maybe even an hour per side, but the results ended up pretty good. The hard part was there were some areas that were a little tight for the orbital sander. So to fix this, basically what I did is I took a drill and put a wire brush in that drill and then just kind of went at those areas, cleaning out as much of that surface rust as possible. One of the keys with any sort of coating, painting, you need to make sure that the prep work is perfect. Most of the time spent in Cerakoting is going to come down to how much you actually prep the part and how clean the surface is. So I spent a lot of time prepping this piece. Again, spending probably about 45 minutes to an hour per side. One of the difficulties with this piece is how large and heavy it was. Just to maneuver this piece around, this is a very thick piece of steel and it is very large as well. So it's just kind of awkward to move. After doing that first side, I had to flip it over and do this side. So it's pretty much the same process, just hand sanding for about an hour and getting all of that surface rust off. One of the difficulties with this side is it was a little bit pitted from the rust being there so long and collecting on this plate, but I was able to get most of it clean and get most of those pits out. I did go back again with the wire wheel and clean out some tight areas. Next step is degreasing, and so to do that you use a Scotch-Brite and this scuffing paste. And this does two things. One, this scuffs the surface so the Cerakote has something really nice and grippy to adhere to, but also it degreases it, so it gets rid of any sort of grease, any sort of again, more surface rust if there is any, and just make sure that the part is fully clean so that the Cerakote can actually adhere to it. I mean, just add water with this. It's kind of like a soap that has like a scuffing compound in it, so it just, again, kind of adds some grit to take away a lot of the smoothness of the piece. After that, I used a spot-free rinse hose to get rid of as much of the soap and everything off of it as possible. This spot-free rinse basically removes any it has a filter that removes any contaminant from the water, so you're not adding contaminant back to the piece. After that, use a microfiber cloth, dry it all off, and again, just have a nice, clean, dry surface to coat. Next, I had to fight this into my spray booth. It barely fit in the spray booth. We're going to be doing it in this black color that I've sprayed before. It is a glacier black. It is an air cure color just because this piece is so large it will not fit in any oven that I have. Next, I do some more prep by adding some acetone and then just wiping down the piece. Again, this just gets rid of any extra dust, any extra grime, any extra grease that might be on this piece. A key with Cerakote is you have to shake this stuff for quite a while to make sure that all of the particulate is mixed in. After that, you can pretty much just pour it into the gun through a filter and then spray it. This definitely takes a long time on a piece this big. My gun settings were set for something that is a lot smaller than this, so I definitely should have adjusted the gun settings a little bit better for a piece like this, but it still turned out pretty well. So this takes about 20 minutes to do a piece this big. It really doesn't take that long, and you don't really need to do multiple coats. In fact, in certain colors, in certain materials, Cerakote actually recommends just doing one coat because they won't actually adhere to each other. This I want to say I did just one coat on this, and it turned out pretty dang good. I could have done multiple coats because it is a skid plate, but I don't think it'll be a problem. One of the things that Justin did want me to do is he wanted a pop of red on the logo from Eurowise. So this took me like 30 seconds to do. I used this stoplight red and just kind of sprayed it on there, and I think it turned out pretty dang good. It's a nice little pop of color, and that's what that black looks like after it's all been sprayed. Next, I had to turn around, do the backside, which is pretty much the same process. Whenever I spray, I always try to focus on the nooks and crannies, the harder parts to get first, and then I work my way out from there. So as you can see, I kind of worked in the nooks and then did the edges and then just sprayed the rest of the piece. The key with this is you just want to kind of like lightly brush it on, and it's kind of like airbrushing almost more than painting. It's like a hybrid between airbrushing and painting. But I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to Justin, and let's see what he thinks about it.
If you watched Grayson's channel and the speeded up version of this, you saw that I managed to Tom Sawyer him into an incredible amount of work for me, and here's the result. Now, there's a little part that we're going to see if we can see that we put a pop of color on here, and we'll look for that here in a second, but now I've just got to put it back on. I'm not at Rob's house. We don't have his fancy transmission lift or whatever the hell it is he uses. So what I'm going to have to do is balance this on my jack here and then wiggle it up into place. There are, I think I'm down to 5 bolts now to hold it on. So we'll put those 5 bolts in, and it's a pretty straightforward process aside from the just kind of general balancing of it. So let me get it put on and we can come back here in a second. That looks pretty great. It is easier to get this on than it seems to be, but ultimately, if you're gonna put this armor on, understand it's going to change the way you change the oil. But man, I think this looks great. I think Eurowise should ship them like this because that looks fantastic. So if you want to see more Cerakote projects, go check out Grayson's channel. I'll point up here, maybe he'll put it up there. Otherwise, if you need Cerakote, contact him as well. And man, I think this thing gets cooler and cooler every time. In fact, I'm gonna loan it to Grayson so he can tell you more about it on his channel with his young eyes.